important piece of art in Israel is actually behind me. Okay, so this mosaic was made by the first child of Tel Aviv. His name was Nahum Gutman, and he's called the first child of Tel Aviv. He was a child that had been brought up here in Tel Aviv, and is the first one that was telling us the story of the city. In a minute I'll explain how come it was him, but for most Israelis is a very famous author. He wrote several books, but the truth is that he was an artist. He was painting and he was making this beautiful mosaic. Actually, this mosaic was made in Italy and was brought here. Over there he had more materials to work with. And this mosaic is telling the story of the city of Tel Aviv, and we can see that it's divided to 4 different sections with 4 different main colors. To the left we can see the old city of Jaffa in green, all the orchards of the oranges. We see the hill, the tail, and we see the port. So this is the historical part of Jaffa that we've just been to. Then over here in yellow we see the sand dunes, and the story of Tel Aviv is a crazy story. It's unbelievable story. So in the end of the 19th century, many people start to immigrate to the Holy Land. Many Jews followed Theodor Herzl's book, remember the book, Old New Land? And they arrived to the main port, to Jaffa, and it started to become very hectic. And the Arab neighbors were not very happy about all the new additions. They taking our jobs, they changing the landscape, okay? And they made the life of the Jews pretty miserable. So one guy arrived, and they told him, you know, if you want, there's like a committee that welcome all the Jews that arrive. So if you want to know the guys, tonight we have a meeting, come, join the meeting. And he arrived to the meeting, and he see a group of people sit in the meeting, and they're doing the one thing that the Jews love to say, to do the most, and as a Jew I can say it, they complain. Oh, the Arab are not very nice. Oh, they put all those limitations. Oh, it's so terrible over here. And he's looking at them and he says, so what's the problem? Let's build a new city. And he said it like that, let's build a new city. But I guess there was something in the way that he was saying it, people were willing to follow. And he is the guy that actually came up with the idea to build a new city that will be a new Hebrew city. So they will arrive to the sand dunes, and they will purchase 66, they will purchase the land, and they will divide it to 66 families. How they're going to tell who is going to get each of the 66 pieces of the land? So they're making a lot. And there are 2 children that are joining in the lot. On the one pile, they have seashells, white seashells, where they write the name of the family. And on the other side, they have a pile of black seashells on which they write the numbers, okay? And then they're making the lots, and 66 families in the middle of the sand dunes, they will start to build the first Hebrew city. Now, please notice that I said the first Hebrew city. What is a Hebrew city? We said that there's a Jewish city, maybe an Israeli city. What is the first Hebrew city? Hebrew city is a city where everyone will speak Hebrew. Okay? Why? Because there are pioneers that follow Theodor Herzl and his books and his agenda. And the main building, you can see in the top of the yellow, there is a building, a long one. That's the most important building in the city. This is the first building that they will build in the first Hebrew city. And that will be what is the most important building in a Jewish city, in a Hebrew city? It's not a synagogue, it's the school. Education, education, education. So they will build a school, but this will be a modern city. So they will build one school. Prior to that, there will be a school for boys and a school for girls. Okay, but this is a joint school. And Nahum Gutman's father is the first teacher in the first Hebrew school. Why? Because he's the only one that can teach in Hebrew. Prior to that, Jews used Hebrew, but they do not speak Hebrew. They will write in Hebrew, they will pray in Hebrew, but they will not speak Hebrew. Okay? So his father was the first teacher, and of course, if his father is the teacher, he will be with him. So they named the school after Theodor Herzl, so it's Gymnasia Herzliya. And this is the most important place. In a minute we'll see why am I telling you it from here and not why don't I take you to this school? You are in this school. Or in the place that the school used to be. Unfortunately, this school that was built in 1909 with Tel Aviv, in the 1960s and 70s, people did not appreciate its historical importance. And they said instead of having the first school, we'll have the first skyscraper. And they knocked down the school and they built this skyscraper, the first skyscraper in the Middle East. Okay? Over here. In the Middle East, in the end of the 60s, that was the first one, the Shalom Tower. And everyone was really upset. So they said, no, 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 no. We're going to make the lobby a museum for the city of Tel Aviv. Okay? Over here we can see the progress that the city brought. The first street light. It will be a wonder. People look like it was not connected to the electricity in the beginning. There will be an old guy climbing up the ladder to lit the oil in it. One street light in the city center, and every afternoon everyone will arrive to watch the wonder. Okay, so we see the progress that the city already start to bring. And in the last section we see Tel Aviv as an international city, a global city. It's not a small city anymore. It's a city that stretch out and cover everything, all the corner of the land, but still the eye, the center is the same school. Yes, it's the same school, Gymnasia Herzliya. This is where we are at the moment. So this is a really, really important mosaic. And they decided to dedicate this area to the history of the city. So we have all sort of models of the first houses of Tel Aviv, and we have pictures from the first years on Tel Aviv, the beach, and a celebration. The city has been going through quite a lot. And also this business center was not always very successful. In the first year it was a wonder, then, city center moved to other place. And what they did, there was a library. They decided to make the city library over here. But like for 20 years, no one is reading books. Everyone have Kindle. And there is nothing to do with the space of the library. And for the last almost 10 years, this library is actually that owned by the city hall is divided to section that is giving for free for young entrepreneurs that want to create their own startup company in Tel Aviv. So they can have like a small office. They have like a small office for free from the city for a year. And if they're proving that their company is actually moving somewhere, they can have another year. And think about it, this is one of the most expensive things, to have an office when you start your own company. But if you want to be the startup nation, you need to encourage the startups. So they can apply in the city hall, and if they found out that they answered the criteria, they can come and make it their office for free. The main street that we're going to go to in few minutes, the Rothschild Boulevard, full of cafes, where many people used to just sit in the cafes with the laptops and walk, write their first code or something of the sort at the beginning of the company. Today it's changed a little bit, and many of the buildings along the main streets are actually the hub of the cyber center of Israel. Many cyber companies, some of them are known, most of them are unknown, and everything about them is strictly secretive, operating from the main street. And just behind this building is the Israeli Stock Exchange. So really in the hub of Tel Aviv and the hub of Israel as an economy. Okay? Questions? No.